I work from home. I want to say that up front because it matters later, and because I don't want you to think I'm someone who wasn't around. I was around. I was always around. That's the thing. I was 10 feet from my window 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, and I could see his house from my desk if I turned my head even a little. I could see it without trying. I saw it every day. His name was Gene Walcott. I know that now. I didn't know it then. I moved to Drexel, Ohio 2 years ago because the rent was $400 a month and I could do my job from a folding table as long as the Wi-Fi held. I do UX work. I redesign the way buttons look on apps you've probably used. It pays fine. It doesn't matter. What matters is I picked this town the way you pick a shirt off a clearance rack. It was cheap and it fit, and I didn't have to think about it. I wasn't looking for a community. I was looking for a place to sit down. The house next to mine had a man in it. Old. I'd see him on his porch some mornings when I went out to get the mail, which was the only reason I went outside most days. He'd be sitting in a green chair, plastic, the kind that cost $6 at the hardware store. He had a coffee mug, but I never saw him drink from it. He just held it. He'd look at me, and I'd look at him, and one of us would nod. I don't remember which of us started that, or if it was always both of us at the same time. It was the smallest possible unit of human acknowledgement. Less than a wave, just the movement of the head that said, "I see that you are there." I never introduced myself. He never introduced himself. This did not strike me as unusual because nothing about it was unusual. That's how things are. You live 8 feet from a person, close enough to hear them cough through the wall on a quiet night, and you don't know their name, and it doesn't occur to you that you should. The first thing I noticed was the porch light. Gene's porch light was on a timer or a switch or something. It came on at dusk and went off in the morning. I don't know when I learned that rhythm, but I did. The way you learn the sound of a refrigerator. You don't hear it until it changes. One morning in October, I looked out the window and the porch light was still on, and it was 10 in the morning. Bright day. The light looked sick against the daylight, that pale orange that electricity makes when it has to compete with the sun. I thought, I went back to work. The next day, it was still on. The day after that. I want to tell you I was worried, but the truth is, I wasn't. The truth is, I noticed it the way you notice a typo in the hairline. Mild irritation at a thing being wrong. I assumed he'd gone somewhere. His daughter's house. The hospital. I didn't know if he had a daughter. I didn't know anything about him. The recycling bin was the second thing. Drexel does recycling pickup on Tuesdays. Gene's blue bin had been at the curb since the previous Tuesday. Empty. Starting to collect rainwater. It sat there through the weekend, through the next Tuesday, through the weekend after that. I took my bin in. I took my bin out. His bin didn't move. It just stood there, filling with water and the slow yellow scum that collects on still water in the fall. Here's what I did about it. Nothing. Here is the list of things I did instead. I answered emails. I moved the button 3 pixels to the left on a screen that a million people will look at and none of them would notice. I ordered Thai food from a place 20 minutes away because the driver would leave it on the porch and I wouldn't have to talk to anyone. I watched 4 episodes of a show I can't remember the name of. I went to bed. I did this for days. I did this while the porch light burned and the bin filled, and Gene Walcott sat in his house in a condition I am going to describe to you now, because I owe him that. Because someone should say it out loud, even if it's just me, and even if it's too late for it to matter. He was in his recliner. He'd been there for approximately 19 days. The coroner estimated between 17 and 21, so let's say 19, because it's the middle, and because precision feels like the least I can do. 19 days in a chair in a room, in a house, in a town where I lived 8 feet away, and turned my head to look at his porch light every morning and turn it back. I wasn't the one who found him. A kid found him. 15, maybe 16, lives on the next block over. They were cutting through Gene's yard, something about a shortcut to the gas station, and they smelled it. I don't know exactly what happened next. I know the kid knocked on the side door and it opened because it wasn't locked. I know they went in. I know they came out and sat on Gene's porch step and didn't call anyone for a while. Just sat there. Someone told me later the kid didn't have their phone out the whole time. Just sat with their hands on their knees and looked at the street. I was at my desk when the cop cars came. 2 of them. Then the ambulance, though there was no hurry. Then a van from the county. I watched from my window. I stood up from my desk and I watched them go in and I watched them come out. And I saw one of the paramedics, a young guy, step off the porch and put his hands on his hips and breathe through his mouth for a while, the way you do when you're trying to get a taste out of your throat. Nobody knocked on my door. Nobody came over to ask if I knew him or if I'd seen anything, if I had noticed when the porch light stopped making sense. I think the cops talked to a few people on the street, but I wasn't one of them. I was right there, and I wasn't one of them. I don't know how to explain that, except to say that I think I had already become invisible in the way Gene was invisible. Not through any dramatic act of disappearance, just through the slow accumulation of closed doors and unanswered moments and the exposed brick wall behind my desk that looked good on Zoom calls. I found out his name from the local Facebook group. Someone posted about it. Sad news on Meriwether Street. 14 comments. 2 of them were heart emojis. One was a woman who said she'd gone to high school with Gene's ex-wife, and wasn't it just terrible? 3 people said they were praying. Nobody said they known him. Nobody said they talked to him recently. The post was between a photo of someone's new desk and a warning about a coyote spotted near the elementary school. It occurred 23 reactions in 2 days, and then the algorithm buried it under a debate about a proposed Dollar General. I read every comment. I didn't leave one. That night, I wrote about it. Not for the Facebook group. I opened a blank document and I wrote about Gene's porch light and the recycling bin and the 19 days and the kid on the steps and the paramedic breathing through his mouth. I wrote about the nod, the smallest possible unit of human acknowledgement. I wrote for 2 hours. It was the most I've written about anything real in years. Most of what I write is copy for software interfaces. Microcopy is called. Little phrases that tell you where to click. Get started. Learn more. You're all set. 3-word sentences designed to move people through a process without making them think. I finished writing and I sat there and I almost posted it somewhere. I could feel the pull of it, the need to put it in front of strangers so it could become something other than just mine. Strangers are easy to talk to. Strangers don't require you to be a person with a history and a smell and a body that takes up space. You give them the words and they give you the reaction and everyone goes home, which is to say everyone was already home, which is to say nobody went anywhere at all. I closed my laptop. I didn't post it. I'm posting it now, which means something changed between that night and this one, and I want to tell you what it was. The county cleaned Gene's house out on a Thursday. Professional service, the kind that deals with situations like his. White van. 2 guys in coveralls, industrial fans in the windows for 3 days, then a lockbox on the door and a sign in the yard from a realty company out of Columbus. The porch light was off. Someone had finally turned it off, or the bulb had finally died. And the house was empty, and the yard was empty, and the green chair was gone. And I sat at my desk, and I turned my head, and I looked at the dark porch where the light used to be, and I had this thought. I am 8 feet from that house. I sit here every day. If I stopped sitting here, how long would it take? How many days before the porch light question was about my house? Who is on the other side of my wall listening for sounds that have stopped? Nobody. That's the answer, and I knew it before I finished the question. I went through my phone that night. My recent calls, 4 in the last month, all work. My text, 2 group chats that I muted, and a thread with my sister that I left unread 11 days earlier. She'd sent a photo of her dog. I hadn't responded, not because I didn't care, because I'd seen it and I felt the small warmth of it, and that had been enough. I didn't need to close the loop. The warmth was sufficient, and I realized sitting there that this is what it looks like. Not a dramatic serving, not a breakdown or a fight or a door slammed shut. Just a slow, imperceptible decision that warmth received is the same as warmth exchanged. That seeing the photo is the same as responding to it. That nodding at the old man is the same as knowing his name. It isn't. It isn't, and I knew it then, and I know it now. And Gene Walcott is dead, and I keep his porch light on in my head, burning past morning, and it doesn't help him, but it's what I have. I looked at my front door that night. I tried to remember the last time someone knocked on it who wasn't delivering food. I couldn't. I tried to remember the last time I knocked on someone else's. My door has a deadbolt and a chain and a peephole I've never once looked through because there is never anyone on the other side. I locked it that night, the way I locked it every night. I turned off the lights. I went to bed. My porch light is on the timer. It comes on at dusk and goes off in the morning. I think it does. I haven't checked from the outside in a while. I don't know what it looks like from the street. I don't know what any of this looks like from the street. If it stops making sense, I need you to understand something. Nobody will notice. Hi guys, this is I'm EJC, and first things first, if you have listened through and made it all the way to the end of the video, thank you. And for those of you who have decided to jump to the end and still want to listen to what I have to say, thank you. And real quick, I just want to give my brief thoughts on this story I just narrated. And now I understand that this isn't really the type of thrilling or unsettling stories that I would narrate to you guys, but I just want to say that this one really hit close to home, and I resonated with this one a lot. Because as a person who is very introverted and very antisocial, I understand that it can get difficult to not feel like you are forgotten or a quote unquote a shadow, especially in today's day and age. On top of the fact, when you become so busy, you decide to push not just your friends but also your family to the side. It can make things a lot more difficult down the line. As the narrator mentioned, how the neighbor, like, days went by and nobody decided to check in on him, and it wasn't until a a random kid just was able to stop by, cut through his house, and just decided to walk into his house because he was able to smell his corpse. So I just want to say that for those of you who do feel like you are alone, I just want to tell you that you aren't. You really aren't. Because I feel that way. A lot more people do feel that way. And again, that's a big reason why I decided to pick this story, because it felt extremely realistic. So I just wanted to just hopefully highlight this and just say that, hey, you all are not alone. We are all in the same boat. And try to also make the extra effort to reach out. Not just to your friends or family, but to others as well. Because you never know. You never know who else is going through this. So that's that. And if you have, again, decided to stay through this last portion of me rambling, thank you. And I deeply appreciate it. Until next time. Thank you guys. Bye.